news in the Second Amendment world is the Supreme Court will actually be hearing a Second Amendment case. Things didn't look so promising last year when they turned down 10 cases related to the Second Amendment, but they're finally going to tackle it. Joe is going to talk about what it means for gun owners right after Dave tells you about Blackhound Optics.
That's right, folks. Blackhound Optics. Accurate, affordable, guaranteed. Sporting optics that go the distance. Backed by customer service that goes that extra mile. Great guys, great product, and a great company that is making optics affordable. On top of quality optics, they pay close attention to the customer experience. And did you know their scopes come with mounts? So you don't have to worry about finding one that fits your gun. We are so excited to have them as an official partner of the show. Ask for them at your local gun store or find them online at blackhoundoptics.com. All right, Joe, what do you got?
Okay, so we're going to talk about the the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a Second Amendment case in their next session, which starts in October. I think first Monday of October.
Yeah,
they do that.
Yep.
So they're going to hear for a Second Amendment case finally. And like Michael was saying earlier, they neglected or they chose not to hear. I think 10. I think you're all right. 10 of them.
Yep.
Last year for different reasons. I don't know what their reasoning is. I know the popular theory is that a lot of the justices felt like they didn't have a good solid majority and they didn't want to have to rule on a Second Amendment case and get it wrong. I don't know what if there's any truth to that, but it's a cool theory though. I like that theory. So what they're hearing this time, or what they've agreed to hear next session, is a case from the New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Corlett, who's one of the I believe Corlett's the Attorney General, or was it Secretary of State in New York?
It's the Attorney General.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, for some reason I thought it was somebody different than that. But anyway, Corlett's the state, and they're bringing this lawsuit and they're challenging the concealed carry restrictions in New York State. So in New York State, New York State is a may issue state, and there's surprisingly there's only 7 may issue states in the country, and that's one of the things that I talk about in here too, or one of the things I think it's worth keeping in mind. That things are not as bleak as you would think. I mean, with everything we have, Joe Biden, we've got the ammo shortage, the gun shortage, this attack on the Second Amendment, but realistically, if you look around the country, 7 states out of 50 are may issue states, which means the other 43 states are shall issue states. So things aren't really that bad, and the trend is moving toward pro Second Amendment anyway. So this could be a great case if it, again, depending on how it gets ruled on. The question that they ask in the state is whether the Second Amendment allows the government to prohibit ordinary law-abiding citizens from carrying handguns outside the home for personal protection or for self-defense. And in New York, they require a concealed carry permit like we have. They also, and that's to carry outside the home. They also require a premises license to even possess a gun in the home. And then they have a restricted permit to transport, I guess, the firearms in limited conditions, like if you're hunting or if you're going to the range or something like that. So it's very restrictive back there. And the 2 plaintiffs in the case are 2 people that had applied for concealed carry, and they were turned down for the concealed carry, but they were given restricted permits. So they're the plaintiffs on this. And it'll be interesting to see how the court rules, because you don't know, I guess, until it happens. It's hard to foresee, I guess, how they're going to rule. But if you look at the makeup of the court now, we have 5 justices that are considered constitutional type justices that are likely to rule in accordance with the Constitution. So you've got, who do you have? You have Clarence Thomas, you've got
Kavanaugh,
Coney Barrett, Kavanaugh, Sam Alito, and Gorsuch are the 5 that are likely to rule that way. You've got 3 justices that tend to be more influenced by, I think, social ideas and social things, and maybe less influenced by the Constitution. So you've got Sotomayor, you've got Kagan is one, and then Breyer, I think, is the 3rd. And then you've got the Chief Justice, John.
Where does he stand?
John Roberts is allegedly a conservative, but he seems to be very political. He seems to be more swayed by the political climate, and he's ruled on both sides. So he was kind of the wild card, which people were not, at least people on our side, were not real confident in anyway. So if you look at how this might go, they're going to argue this case. The defendants are arguing that, or not the defendants, the plaintiffs are arguing that the Second Amendment prevents the state from prohibiting their ability to protect themselves with firearms. The state is going to argue that this law has been in place for over 100 years. They're saying it's very flexible, and they're saying many people have been able to, qualify and get their concealed carry permits. Well, if you look at New York's, I think the last census, as of last year anyway, New York's got about 19.3 million people. They've issued, according to John Lott in his last annual survey, they've issued 196,000, I think, concealed carry permits, which comes out to about 1% of their population, which is well below what it is across the country. Nationally, it's around 7-point-something% for concealed carriers. And again, according to John Lott's annual survey. And if you look at Lott's numbers, if he removes California and New York, two of the most restrictive states, it's more like 10-point-something% of people in the country have concealed carry permits. So it'll be interesting to see how they argue.
Well, this case too, this is the same case that was a few years ago. It was going to go in front of the Supreme Court, and the state of New York tweaked their law a little bit.
That was in New York City,
right?
Yeah.
And they decided, okay, you know what, this case is moot now because they tweaked the law a little bit, and now the Supreme Court is saying, you know what, we want this case. My thought when reading this is, number one, they want to rule on carry. They want to rule on the right to bear arms. That's a priority. Somebody in the Supreme Court said, you know what, we have the votes, we want to rule. But do you think that they took this case back up because they're worried about court packing and Biden, and they decided, you know what, we need to get this on the books?
Well, they could, and that's another thing too. I mean, October's a long way out. There's a lot of stuff that could happen. I don't think the court packing thing, as much as they're going to try, I don't think they're going to be able to do that because they're going to have to get rid of the filibuster to do that, which there's Democrats that aren't on board with doing that. And that whole process, I don't know if they'll get done in time. But, yeah, that could be part of the reason. It takes 4 justices to decide whether they're going to hear something. And of all the applications they get, I was reading that they take like 1.1% of them. So it's certainly somebody had a reason for hearing this or for wanting to hear this. And I think there's probably 2 ways. If you look at the 2 extremes with this, I think the best case is that the justices could rule in favor of the plaintiffs, and what they can say is that, okay, the Second Amendment covers concealed carry, which effectively would make all of these restrictive concealed carry laws null and void. So the law of the land would be shall issue in that case, I think. I think that's the best case thing that could happen. Worst case really isn't that bad. I don't think worst case will change anything. They decide that, no, the Second Amendment doesn't apply. And I think what will happen in that case is the 7 states that are very restrictive now will just end up getting more restrictive. And I don't think it'll affect the rest of the country so much because, again, I don't think the attitude in the country is more pro-Second Amendment. And you certainly would know that from the media and from, the current administration and stuff like that. But I think it really is. We've got, over 20 million now concealed carriers across the country.
Nationwide, yeah.
And that number's growing, consistently year after year. When Texas gets this, hopefully this constitutional carry thing through their Senate, they'll be the 21st state that's constitutional carry. So I think even the worst case, even if the court doesn't rule in favor of this, I don't know that it'll affect too much. But it'll be interesting to see because, again, there's lots of stuff that could happen between now and then. Justices retire. I think Breyer is, what is he? I saw he was 82,
yeah,
something like that. So, I mean, different things could happen between now and then. But I think overall, people should be reasonably optimistic, gun owners in the country. I mean, it seems bad now, but you have to remember that, like the current administration, the stuff that's going on, that's politics, and politics are temporary. The Biden administration won't be there forever. I don't think they're going to be there much beyond 2022, and certainly not beyond 2024. So most of the bad things they're doing can be undone. So, as a gun owner, I think I'd be pretty optimistic about this. So that's
what about you think the outcome will be positive?
I think so. Again, it's hard to tell because you don't know how these people are going to rule. But if the 5 constitutional justices rule according to the Constitution, most rational people understand what the Second Amendment says. If you don't try to politicize it and change it around, I think the chances are reasonable.
But they're under such a scrutiny right now of not doing their job by ignoring Second Amendment cases for how many years?
Well, since 2010 anyway,
yeah.
Right?
So
there's really only been one Second Amendment case. That was 2008. It was the Heller case, where they said, it's an individual right. And then in 2010, there was the McDonald case. All the McDonald case did was say the Heller case applies to all 50 states, and that's it. There's been one major decision.
Right.
And that's it. One in 45 years.
Well, wouldn't you say that they're in a position right now, if they don't do this, I mean, they're already, their approval rating is in the tank.
Well, it just feels like them going back and revisiting this New York case. It feels like they have something to say.
Yeah.
And that's why they did it. Because it's highly unusual.
And it's about time, because they're the third branch of the government. They're supposed to be doing this stuff.
They're under the gun, and they realize they have to do something, especially now, like you said, with the latest administration.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.